Hey,
There we
I
go.
am okay.
Yep.
It's like relearning this all over again. So I'm on the home page of the Demer Library, and we're going to go to Badger Link, which is about partway down the page, and click on that. Now, this is going to work best if, oops, oh, that's interesting, if you log in, because eventually while we're doing our searching, it's going to ask us to log in anyway. And if you just start with Three Lakes, it'll come up on the Demer Library, and you can click on that and then put in your library card. Oops, this whole thing threw me off today. Okay, and I don't know why I have this screen here. Okay, so this looks like it's come up on the page that I was on last, so I think I'm going to try to get back to the Badger Link homepage. And to get started, there's a number of options down here. You can browse by format, which will be books or encyclopedias, newspapers, multimedia. We're going to do the newspapers, but you can also browse by subject and audience, meaning that if you're for the general public or for elementary school or middle school or high school, Badger Link is a resource that can be used by general like library patrons, but also it's used in schools. The different resources. And then there are all the resources that are available on Badger Link that you can take a look at. But today we were just going to talk about newspapers, and we'll apply that. And here it gives the newspaper links or options that are available on Badger Link. I'm going to start down at the bottom because the ones down here are mostly current. The U.S. news stream is current and archival to the 1980s. Wish I could get, whoops. Okay. Anyway, and then it gives a list of the newspapers that it will index or have available. The New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, just to name a few. And then it gives you the audience that it is best for, the general public in elementary school, middle school, high school, and higher ed. You go down to the read more. It also tells you that on Badger Link, this also includes resources from the U.S. Newsstream Archive of Wisconsin newspapers and newspapers.com, the library edition, which is up above. And it tells you that it updates daily, and same day publication access to over 250 titles. And it includes news wires, news journals, television and radio transcripts, blogs, podcasts, and digital-only websites. So this is a pretty inclusive website for research and searching. And then they have a training video here. It's just a little introduction on how to search this option, and it's no longer than 5 minutes, but it can help you understand what kind of searching you can do and how to search to get the most out of it. I'll run just a little bit of it. just so you get an idea of the kind of information it gives. So it's, and that's just, I just want to give you a taste of that. The best way to, with all of these is to just play around with them. Sometimes they seem to be a little clumsy to work with, but play around with them and get to where you feel comfortable with it. Okay. This is what the search screen looks like for US Newsstream. They have a basic, advanced. If you want to know what publications it covers, it also has an alphabetical list of the publications, and you can see that there's 1,124 publications that it covers. Over here, it tells you the types, the languages, and if you need to know the publisher or the database, so that information is here as well. Okay. Now we'll go over to, oh, my page is really being, going back to the newspaper resource format again. Regional business news. This will cover business, as it says, but it's full text regional U.S. and Canadian business publications. So for business people, this is going to be a good resource for them. It's full text dating back to 1990. And once again, it will have training videos, how to search with the EBSCO host items, which we have on BadgerLink. ProQuest is another company that provides these types of items for BadgerLink. And this is the same thing. Take a look at the training videos and get an idea of what and how to search these items. They're very good. As far as genealogist goes, may not have quite what you would want as far as genealogy or history. Newswires. This is a near real-time access to top worldwide news. This is pretty much updated. It's continuously updated with a 30-day archive. And Associated Press, United Press International, PR, Newswire. So this is a pretty up-to-date and current news publication, search publication. And if you look here, just go to the search. Let's just put in coronavirus. That's not what I meant. Well, anyway, college students. So anything that's applies to the topic college students, there's 758 articles or items that came up. There's videos. It's searching 2019 to 2020, so that's what it means by being current and most up to date. Over here, it has your web news and the sources for that, and Newswires, AP regional state, marijuana use by U.S. college students by AP. So this is a very current source. Okay. Take me back home. Nope. Okay. I seem to keep coming back to this Wisconsin News Archives. This is a website that searches newspapers, Wisconsin newspapers, and you'll find a list of them down here in this box right here. And you can search all of them, or you can uncheck them, and you can just check certain ones. Here's the Boulder Junction newspaper, Brilliant, Broadhead, a bunch of different little newspapers in the state of Wisconsin. Well, Beloit is not so little. So you can just search what you one at a time, couple at a time, or you can search the whole thing. Up here, you can search, this is from 2005 to 90 days ago. And those are the current newspapers. And then over here, you can search historical newspapers. They have 38 historical newspapers in this database, and they are listed right here. They have the Florence Mining News from 1881 to 1894, and then 2005 to current. They have Marinette and Peshtigo. Let's see, I don't think, yeah, nothing for Three Lakes or Rhinelander on the historical. But if you have people, ancestors, or that you would like to look up from these sources, this is the place to go. I find this one a little bit hard to work with myself. It doesn't seem to find too much of what I'm looking for, although I'm just going to put in, let's just put in the Peshtigo fire. And just do a general search. You can't tell it's searching unless you move your screen down, and you can find the searching dial down here. It was confusing for me the first couple of times I used it. Over here comes up with the newspapers, the articles, and it's that mentions, well, it's going to mention fire, and it's going to mention Peshtigo. You can also search by putting quotation marks around your search term so that it just looks for that term together. And the other thing is I didn't narrow my search term, so there's it stopped at 1,000 documents because my search term was too broad. So not everything that is available is showing. But just to show you how you get this, you can see this page. You need to click on download. My computer is not cooperating today. I'm so sorry about that. Oh, there we go. And I can open it. And there you have the page of the paper where it mentions fire and Peshtigo. And it is from the Eagle Herald. And I didn't see where that was from. Oops. And so that's how that works. Then you can save that article to your own computer. I'm going to try to get back to resources page. Okay. Archive of Wisconsin Newspapers is a site that's just available during this time. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm not put here. Access Newspaper Archive. It's just available during the COVID-19 pandemic. And as it'll say down here, just until May 15th. So once again, they do have training. There is a training video on how to best search this. As you can see here, you can search in different countries. They have a name search page. This is one that would work well for genealogy, for looking up people that you may have in your family tree. And you can search by keyword. So you can come down here and you can search state by state if you want to do New York or Minnesota, California, or if you want to do all of them. And it's a fairly easy site to use. I'm just going to put in. Anybody have a name that they want to research? Nope.
James.
Okay. Yeah, just a name.
James.
James, okay. Was that a first name or a last name?
That's
Okay.
first. Okay, MC.
Okay.
DEAR. MID.
MID. Okay. Okay, so we have some in Oakland, California. Did you want to narrow that down by a state?
You could. It's the New York guy I've been working on.
Oh, okay.
Although it's pretty old, so I don't know.
Yeah, that New York, those New Yorkers, I was looking for some myself, and they're just not going to be found. But we'll try this. And okay, we'll say the country is the US. One thing I've noticed about this, I couldn't find a way to narrow this to do an advanced search unless I started doing a search.
Huh.
And I could not find that advanced search on the home screen. Now, maybe I was just overlooking something, but it kind of bothered me because I kind of wanted to do, narrow it down right from there, but I couldn't do it until I put in the name first or put in the keyword first, and then clicked on that revised revise search button. So I don't know why that was. But anyway, here we have, well, we have McDermott, but James is not part of that name or part of the string. So if we go back here to revise again, I'm going to take him. I'm going to cut him out of here. And I'm going to put him back up here. And see if it'll bring the names together rather than searching for, nope, it did not. This is what I mean by playing around with these sites. Their searches are just, you have to get used to how they will search for the items that you're interested in. So I'm going to put this down here.
That last, Nancy, what spell the last name for me that we're looking at?
Yeah, McDearmid.
Thank you. I'm trying to keep up with you, just on my computer, so.
Right.
But my computer's acting up too, so.
I don't know what, well, it could just be me. I know that from my end, but I know last night when I was sitting down working with some of this, my computer would go to a blank screen, and I don't know what that was all about. Okay. I came up with nothing, Beth.
Nothing. Yeah, that's okay. Somebody else can give a name. Maybe that would work.
Anybody else have a name they'd like to try, or?
You could
try. I just sent one to the chat box.
Pardon me? Oops.
I sent one to the chat box. I thought I did. I have Lawrence, Lawrence, Schermer, Schirmer, 3 Lakes, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we used to work with him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trying to help him get all the paperwork done so he can move to the VA.
Yes.
Miss seeing him.
Schirmer.
SH. I put a C in there. Okay. Going to put no special characters. Some sites will use special characters and others will not. So quotation marks might work on some, but they will not work on others. Okay.
No, he only lived in 3 Lakes his whole life, so. Okay, well, thanks for trying.
Yeah, keep trying though, because I know, we know Larry, so in this newspaper, this site does not search 3 Lakes or Rhinelander papers. I'm going to go to a different site now. Honestly, this is not. What's over here? Bear with me while I just get this back to Naturally, when you demonstrate something, it's not going to work the way it did while you were practicing for this. Okay, this is the newspapers.com is the site that I think I use personally. This is the one that Ancestry.com refers to a lot. It'll bring up articles when you're doing an ancestry search. Some of the things that will come up will be from newspapers.com. The only thing is that you have to have a subscription to see or access these obituaries or articles that your person is in. On Badger Link, you can get newspapers.com library edition, and you can search it without that subscription because you're doing it through the library that has the subscription. It's sort of like Ancestry Library. Well, it is like Ancestry library edition. And we'll go to this site. It has very simple search. So we're going to put in Larry again. And then you can add more information over here. And we'll just put in 3 Lakes. And we'll put in Wisconsin.
How far is Ottawa from New York, Canada?
I think, Nancy, I think it wanted, oh, maybe it'll work.
We'll see what happens.
It had listed state first and then city. So I wonder if you needed to put Wisconsin, then 3 Lakes.
Okay. Or we could just do it with Larry.
Yep.
And then we can, over here, you can narrow it down by state. And you can do the see more.
Here's Wisconsin.
It only says 2. And it was not helpful at all. Oh, wow. It's just searching 1943. So we better enter a different date range. Let's just say, let's just say 1990. Nope, not helpful at all. So sorry about that. Okay. Anybody else have a different, anything they'd like to search?
Could you look for someone in Maryland?
Yes.
An obituary for John Knack, Knaack.
John. Knaack. Okay. Just going to do the search on that. And we're going to look. Does not look like they have anything in Maryland.
Okay.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Let's see what that does. No. Well, it says 15 matches, though. This is, um, yeah, but this is for some reason only checking 1945. No, that makes, okay.
Well, he was
Any,
still
it
alive
says
in
any
45.
time. Yeah,
I think he probably died in the 80s or 90s,
okay.
1990 or 90. I don't.
1972,
It could be
1990.
Yeah, could be sometime. Now, you lost me a little bit. Are you under newspaper archives?
I went to newspapers.com, the library edition.
Oh, newspaper. Oh, okay.
This is, like I said, this is the one that Ancestry refers to a lot of the time. And I've had so much luck with this, and then now today, I look at this, or trying to do this, and it's just not working out at all. So, anybody have another name we can try and see if we can. I'm gonna go back to the home.
Well, yeah, you could do one in Delaware, Gladys Hintz. Hintz.
Okay. And I'm just going to search everything and then narrow it down. Delaware? Sorry, we're striking out again. This has got, okay. But we did come up with Gladys Hintz in Pennsylvania, in New York. And there's actually an obituary here for Mrs. Gladys Hintz, and funeral held in only in New York. Yes,
Well, funeral was in Maryland, but
yeah,
probably.
that's
Well,
not helping at
he lived
all.
in
I could
Dover.
tell. Yes.
Hey,
Okay,
Beth.
thanks.
Beth,
Yes?
was James McDermott married?
Yes.
Okay, and did he have children?
Yes.
What do you know the children's names?
Well, I have what seems to be two different James McDermotts because as I recall, I'd have to look it up, but as I recall, that was part of my confusion. Both, if I have two James McDermotts, they both have Mary Brown as their wife, but I'm getting confusing sets of children.
Do you by chance remember the children's names?
I can quick look it up.
Well, I was just wondering because I've been playing around with the newspaper, like Nancy said, and I found James McDermott in Massachusetts.
Huh.
So that being so close to New York, I'm just wondering, it could be. So I was thinking that if yeah.
Yeah, he had, I think he had a son named Sidney and a son named Gardner.
Okay.
That's two of them.
Okay. So when we're looking at the newspapers, should we, if we think it's New York, should we look at surrounding areas?
It's always a good idea.
Okay.
Sometimes what we, been told or we believe to be true isn't always. And then, I mean, it just kind of happens that way. Or you've been told, don't believe everything you've been told. Look outside the box.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. Look at surrounding areas.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go back here again and see if I can just put in something that's going to produce something here, so I could get an idea of. I'm going to put in my buddy here. And he's all over the place too.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that would be so common of a name, but I mean, Millard isn't all that common. Okay, it says, oops, we were unable to load facts. So I guess I'm having some issues on my system today.
Maybe there's a lot of kids on the computer doing schoolwork right now.
Yeah. You know, I think that's probably right.
Well, good for them.
Yay, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the newspapers on Badger Link. So, but there are, pardon me?
This has been helpful, Nancy.
Very helpful.
Good. I'm glad. You know, I've never, when I was working at the library, I found Badger Link useful, believe it or not, for people who came in and wanted for car repairs. We used to have an old set of books at the library, maybe we still do, the Chilton's car repair manuals. Mm-hmm. And some of the service guys would come in and look, or guys who were redoing old cars or whatever would come in and do you have any service or repair manuals for a, I don't know, Chevy Malibu, whatever, and go to those and go to the Chiltons and find them. Well, our collection was hit and miss. And if I couldn't find it, I would go to Badger Link and I could find it on here too and print it out and give it to them. So there's a lot more on this site than meets the eye. I mean, if you take a look down here, we did the formats, and there were other formats here, books, and I said encyclopedias, magazines, but there's also primary sources. And the primary sources that they list are newspapers, and then there's a EBSCO multimedia search, European Views of America, Explora for elementary schools. And as for all age levels, for all people, here's Heritage Quest Online, and that is a genealogy site. It looks like Ancestry because Ancestry now does own it. And these are the items that they have. And sometimes it's a good idea to come over here and search the census on Heritage Quest, because it might different entities will index differently, may index differently, and some may skip certain things, but if you go to another entity's census records, they may not have missed that. So just because Ancestry has census records doesn't mean that you shouldn't search the census records, say on ProQuest or on Heritage Quest or in Family Search or any of the other sites that might be available out there. And this site, you can also search historical books, and Revolutionary War searches can be done on here. And I see that there's obituaries too. I haven't looked at this in a while, and this is another thing that is a good thing, would be a good thing to keep in mind. I cannot seem to get out of here. Okay, so anyway, yeah, just keep this. There's a history.
There was one last question that came in under the was it media or newspaper stream, the current newspapers?
Okay.
Could we try a search under there?
Newspaper. U.S. News Stream?
The U.S. News Stream, that's the one.
Okay, yes.
And just see what we have for opening of fishing 2020.
Oh,
See if there's enough local news or if it's.
Okay, let's see if we can. This covers everything from New York, I mean, all over. So let's see if we can narrow this down a little bit. We'll just want newspapers. And we'll just want, let's see, how can I narrow the date down? Don't need it from 1984, but maybe. How about if we go to advanced? So we'll just put in I'll put season in too, just you definitely have to play around with it to see what will work and what won't, or how it works. But I don't see anything for, at least the way I'm doing it, I don't see anything for 2020. I'm going to go back and put that date back in. Okay, now we're getting a little bit more. Wisconsin fishing season opener like weather. In a Chicago paper. Here's a Madison. sturgeon season. Okay. So, yeah,
Okay.
just play around with it and see
What
what
does
will
that
come
first
up.
result look like?
Oh, better go back to that. I'm it's a full text article, and it's out of Dodgeville. So looks
Okay.
like a pretty
Cool. Interesting article. What paper was that in?
this is the TCA Regional News, Chicago
Hmm.
Tribune Content Agency, and it was written by Barry
Okay.
Adams. Okay, you can also, on this site, if you find something that you want to keep, you can email it to yourself, or you can print it out. And then there's all options, or save it as a PDF. So you do have these. I'm doing such strange things today. I'm sorry.
No apologies necessary.
And then she left.
Yeah. He's
Well,
disappeared into cyberspace.
she sure did. Okay. Well, now, do you guys feel like that was useful?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
very.
very useful. I just
Yeah,
found out that there's a lot of stuff on here. Wow.
Yes, yes, there is. I think, and what I have learned in playing around with BadgerLink is that the searches are not. You just need to have a lot of patience. There's a lot of information, but the searches can be very difficult, and you need to go at it in many different ways, try different combinations of words. Sometimes it's very picky about words. It doesn't always like quotes. So that's one of those things that it can be a very useful tool, but it just almost takes dedication to one of those searches. The other thing to be warned about, like the one that is available during, up until May 15th, you might want to jump on that and use that one right away. And just be warned too that these databases come and go. They start changing their prices, and suddenly BadgerLink can't afford to keep them. So just be warned that sometimes a favorite database, or if it doesn't get used, a database might disappear due to lack of use. They do use statistics and everything to determine that. So if there is an interest in one, let us know. So if you if you really prefer one or the other, give me that feedback, because I can always pass it on to BadgerLink and let them know that it is useful to you.
Okay. Erica, is there, I do have a question about like finding images. Is there a resource to find like pictures of people that may have been posted somewhere?
Ooh, good question. Mom, I think you logged back on. Did you hear that question?
Yes, I did. Yeah, there is, and I don't know what it is right now. Oh, yeah, I think it's through the Library of Congress.
Hey, well, I appreciate, something like that, just
Okay.
to play with that.
Mary Lynn, I'll see what I can find out. I know there is.
Okay.
And I think one of the sources is the Library of Congress. So images of just historical scenes or people or certain people.
All of the above.
Okay.
I mean, for example, I'd like to see an image of what my grandparents' house looked like, way back when.
Google. Okay, way back when, yeah. I don't know about that,
I've
but
tried Google.
getting
I've tried the Google images. That's not giving me what I need.
Google Maps of
I would try Google Maps.
at least, or Google Earth,
Okay.
at least finding the area where they lived and see what is there now. Historical images, that's another thing, yeah. I'll have to do a little research on that and see what I can come up with.
Nancy, I always wondered if you kind of knew, like my mom's parents had a summer place on Sugar Camp Lake. Can you visit like the zoning office or a title company and figure out like plat maps that would show? I don't have an address, but I have their names. Would they be able to look up histories like that?
Yeah, old plat books. Yeah, you can do it through there. And if you, okay, so that's
Is that zoning then?
Yeah, zoning.
Okay.
And Oneida County zoning has an online search too. If you know I guess you need to know your the description the description of the land, the plot
Yeah,
or
see,
the plat, whatever. Yeah, and I know I'm not real good at that either.
I'm not sure I have that. I could look again maybe, but I know the owners' names. I know the owners' names, and I wondered if there is a way to use that.
Yeah, and I think there is a way that you can search by name as well
Okay,
on Oneida County site.
awesome.
I haven't used that in a long time, but that is that is doable. And and old plat books, from way back when, which we had some at the library, but I don't know, how far back this goes. And we only, I think, go back into like the 1980s with the old plat books at the library.
Yeah, and this would be 40s and 50s.
Okay. But the zoning should have that.
Okay.
We've
Yeah,
we've got some of the old, well, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but the land title information for some of the property that Bruce's family owned in the area. And but they're available, and I think that's public record. Back to the historic places, or to find out where your grandparents lived or whatever. I think Google Earth would be a good place to start, and put in an area or an address if you've got it, and at least get an idea of the neighborhood they lived in. If the house may not be there anymore, there might be a road system that goes through that area right now. But gives you an idea if you can't find anything else. Any other questions? Anything else we want to talk about?
Thank you, Nancy, for doing this. This was very helpful.
You're welcome.
Yes,
was.
thank you. Makes me feel more
Thank you.
comfortable.
Yeah, good. It sure was messed up
Okay.
today.
Worst case scenarios means it's only going to be easier from here.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Hey, well, stay
Thanks,
tuned for new
guys.
topics, and thanks again for
Appreciate it.
presenting. Thanks, y'all. We'll do this again.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.